AR says R, OR says OR, most of the time. When OR comes at the end of a multisyllable word, it can say but most of the time, OR is going to say OR, like you would expect. And then ER, IR, and UR all say It's almost as if you can't hear the vowel at all. You're only hearing that R, Okay, so let me write that down. We have AR says R, OR says OR, OR says OR most of the time. And then ER, IR, and UR all say So those are the R-controlled vowels. Okay? Because if you'll notice that A, E, I, O, and U aren't saying what they usually say. They're all saying something completely different. Then, the O is saying its long sound, but everything else is saying something completely different or not saying anything at all because of that R. It's controlling the sound. So W-controlled vowels are AW and WA. That A is saying ah in both those instances. So we have WA saying wa, WAR saying war, and WOR saying were. Wa, war, were. Wa, war, were. Let's practice. Thank you. Thank you, Valentine. Okay. All right. Sharing my screen so we can learn. Our first word together is tespitarty. No, tespitarty. Sounds t, e, s, p, I, t, a, d, e. Well, isn't that just smashing it right out of the gate here? My goodness, we have a 4-syllable word to start with. Yeah, I'm looking at all of these words and they're all a little bit long today. So hang in there, buckle up. And if you just feel, here's the thing, I'm going to stop sharing. If you ever begin to feel frustrated, please put your pencil down, because we don't learn when we're frustrated. Just sit back, just listen, and learn. It will get in there. Even if you're not working on it, if you are listening, it will get into your brain. But if you try to persist through frustration, those nerve pathways aren't going to connect. That's not learning. If frustration is present, learning is absent. Okay, so we're going to be working on some long, challenging words today. If they are too challenging to the point where you are wanting to throw your pencil down, then just lightly place it down and just give yourself a break and listen until you are feeling a little better about what we're learning. All right, so we are at tespitarty. Tespitarty. Consonants. T, e, s, p, I, t, a, d, e. Tespitarty. We spell with an E most of the time, which is just fine right there because of the tap 2 rule. We spell I with an I most of the time, which is fine because it's in the middle syllable. I doesn't need 2 consonants after it if it's in the middle syllable like that. R is spelled with an AR. This is R. E at the end of a longer word is usually spelled with a Y. So there is tespitarty. Tespitarty. Now, having done that one, try yours. Westibarty. Westibarty. W, e, s, t, I, b, a, t, e. Westibarty. No. Westibarty. Westibarty. And then this one right here is a T. Westibarty. I'm going to give you these 2 right here. Westibarty. Westibarty. And then go ahead and put it in the Q&A if you are playing today. Westibarty. Nice. Very good, anonymous attendee. If you can change your name and put it in there, I'd be grateful. All right, Westibarty. I'm going to give it a couple more seconds here. This is a T. Sounds like a D, doesn't it? So I gave you the letter right there. It's a T. If you put a D, that's okay too, because they sound similar. Oh, hi, Sarah. Okay, consonants. W, E, S, T, I, B, A, R, T, E. Vowels. E is usually spelled with an E, which is just fine spelling the S sound right here because there are two consonants after it. I is usually spelled with an I, which is just fine right here because it's in the middle syllable. R is spelled A-R, A-R. E at the end of a longer word is usually spelled with a Y. Oops. There is Westibarty, Westibarty. All right, let's try. What says were, as in worship, worth, word, world? It's W-O-R. Okay, so our word is werpindit, werpindit. W-er, p-i-n-d-it, werpindit. Consonants. W-er, p-i-n-d-it. After a W is spelled O-R. This is the important part to know. W-O-R says were, as in world, worth, worthy, word. W-O-R says were. That's how you spell were. So here we have werpindit. We have our I that is going to be spelled with an I. Just fine right here. Tab 2 rules makes it nice and happy to say I right there. And then this also follows the tab 2 rule and says I right there. Werpindit. Werpindit. Now that you know that one, try yours. Werpuntip. 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 Nice. In the middle like that, this is going to be the most common spelling. The U. Werpuntip. This is going to be an Werpuntip. So far, every single person has put something other than the U except for only one person. So I wanted to give you that one. This U is the most common way to spell when the tab 2 rule can work. So let's go over that one. Werpuntip. So we have our W. We have our were, which we already know is W-O-R, that spells were, right? So good job on that part. That was the hardest part. Let's do the rest of the consonants. P, n, t, I, p, werpuntip. And then this I is going to be spelled with an I just fine. This U, I had almost every single vowel right here in the Q&A. Yeah, A can say sometimes, but it has to be towards the end of a longer word, like this right here, not like right in the middle like that. Yeah, O can also say sometimes, but it also has to be toward the end of a multisyllable word. It would have to be clear over here. This U is the most common way to spell when the tap 2 rule applies. Okay, word pun tip. All right, let's keep going. Let's try primwash. Primwash. P-R-I-M-W-A-S-H. Together. P-R-I-M-W-A-S-H. There's our consonants. Now we're going to do our vowels. I is spelled with an I most of the time. Tap 2 rule applies right here. The next two letters are consonants, so it's fine saying A right here. Here's our new reading rule for the month. When we hear wa, we spell it W-A. Keeping that in mind, how would you spell blitwomp? Blitwomp. B-L-I-T-W-A-M-P. Blitwomp. Blitwomp. Good. Nice. Excellent. Beautiful. Gorgeous. So the last part is womp. Womp. Blitwomp. Nice. Blitwomp. Nice, Joseph. Okay. Consonants we have B, L, I, T, W, A, M, P. If you got that far, well done. Congratulations. Just being able to split up the sounds is the hardest part, okay? So if you were able to split up all of those sounds, that is 99% of the job right there. And then when you put in the consonants, that is the easiest part. Now you're saving the medium part for the end, but we've got our tools, so it's not the hardest part because we know how to do this. We know how to spell I. It's an I when the next two letters are consonants. And we know that wa is spelled W-A. Congratulations, that's beautiful. All right, let's try Tefimporty. Tefimporty. T-F-I-M-P-O-R-D-E. I'm going to do this one with you, and then I'm going to send you off on your own to try it, one just like it. Tefimporty. Consonants. T-E-F-I-M-P-O-R-D-E. Can this E say here? Not yet. It needs two consonants after it. If there's not two, make two. I. Can this I say I here? Yes, because there are two consonants after it already. Or is spelled O-R. E at the end of a longer word is usually spelled with a Y. Now, your word is Fittensporty. Fitten. Mouth is open. Fittensporty. 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 There we go. Beautiful. If you can spell Fittensporty, you guys, you're doing great. You know, you're doing better than you think you are. Even if you come close, you're doing better than you think you are. Fitten, so it starts with an I, then the E. Fittensporty. I love seeing what I'm seeing. This is beautiful. Fittensporty. All right, consonants. F, I, T, E, N, S, P, O, R, T, E. I. Can this I say I here? No, not yet. It needs two consonants after it. If there's not two, make two. Now it's nice and comfortable making it short sound. Can this E say here? Yes, because of the tab 2 rule. 2 consonants are already there. Notice the difference in these two sounds. They're so subtle, so similar, but we have to differentiate between them. I, jaw is dropped on this one. I, and then here's our or, spelled O-R, and then Y at the end of, E at the end of a longer word is usually spelled with a Y. Fit and sporty. Well done, you guys. All right, this one is on your own. How do you spell were again? Were, like word, world, worship, W-O-R. W-O-R spells were. So your word is, were pun. Never mind, I already gave you that one. Yeah, I already gave you that one. I'm going out of order because the first several were so hard that I skipped over them. Now let me go back. Okay, try this one. How do you spell war? Just like the word war, right? W-A-R. So your word is war dim blist. 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 Guys, if you can spell war dim blist, you're amazing. War dim blist. That's okay. These are hard. Don't you worry. Remember, if you get stuck, just put your pencil down and just listen. It'll get in there. And the vowel sound toward the end is I, okay? I. War, like we're going to war. Dim blist. They're both is. Good job, Fatima. War dim blist. Nice. All right, so consonants. W, O, D, I, B, O, I, S, T. So far, so good. War dim blist. Okay, war is spelled W-A-R. I right here can spell the I sound just fine because of those two consonants, plus it's in the middle. And then here's another I spelled with an I. So there is war dim blist. The hardest part might have been that E versus the I. Focus on the shape of your mouth. I is, your jaw is up. Your teeth are barely open. And your mouth is in a grin. I, you have to drop your jaw a little bit. So think of words that start with I and We have, for I, we have inside, itchy, impossible, include, imperative. If we have our jaw dropped a little more, we have escape, excellent, exit, elbow. You'll see my jaw dropping every time. Elementary, elementary. That one had 3 E's in it. So your jaw is dropped just a little bit on the So that will help to differentiate between the I and the is to focus on the shape of your mouth. I, and to think of words that start with those 2 sounds. All right, my friends, you did it. Congratulations for spelling Wardim Blist and Fit and Sporty and Westibarty. This is why you're amazing. Do you believe me now? I hope so. Have a great weekend. We will see you next month when we're starting learning something brand new. See you then. Bye, everybody.